Connie.
I, Oliver.
Take you, Oliver.
Confusing sex with love.
There's nothing like that.
Yes, it is.
Strength.
I've given you everything.
It's not enough.
Ecstasy.
It's amazing, isn't it? How someone can get so into your blood.
I don't know about blood. Start the show.
Welcome to Cordkillers, the show about getting stuff out of your blood, but also watching the stuff you love when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm so glad you said that, Tom Merritt. I'm Brian Brushwood, and let me kick that back to you. How do we get anything out of anyone's blood? Are we phlebotomists on the show?
I believe it's cheesecloth.
Yes, the show that uses cheesecloth to, Bryce
To get
is here
Lady
with us, but
Chatterley out of your blood.
go on.
Yeah.
Or Bryce, tell us about the show.
Okay, that was a trailer for Netflix's upcoming film adaptation of Lady Chatterley's Lover. This is one of the earliest published scandalous romantic novels of the day. Streaming on Netflix December 2nd. It looks like I don't know, it's very soap opera-y now, right? The idea of, a lady ends up falling in love with the gardener.
Out of wedlock.
Yeah, it was it was scandalous at the time, but now it's just kind of soap opera-y now.
Before we bring in our guest, that's one of the things we talked about on one of our other podcasts, Great Night, how, nowadays it's like, oh my goodness, songs are so explicit. And yet back in the 1950s, 60s or whatever, you would have Frank Sinatra saying, let's make love. And people would be like, oh, Jesus Christ, Frank, what are you doing? You're just talking about making love.
Rock and roll. I think I know what he means by that.
Exactly. But for more detail, explicitly to the best that you can, Brian Dunaway, how do you make love?
Oh, how do I make love? I'm not giving away that secret. You've been trying to get that from me for years, ever since I've known you.
All right.
I'm not telling.
Swing and a miss on my part. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you so much. How's everybody doing? It's been a year. It's been over a year since last time I've been here.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So much has changed.
Time
COVID now.
I'm spending at least another $10 on streaming services, so I've got things to say.
Ooh, that
All
sounds
right,
like a
good.
perfect lead-in to
To
a primary
what?
target.
Well, as we talked about previously on the show, the streaming TV landscape is changing. The rush to launch new services has ended, and now begins the fight to survive the culling by folks like Brian Dunaway as they decide which of these services am I actually going to keep, which ones are worth paying for. We're going to look at two ways companies are approaching this right now. First is Netflix. Netflix's method to keep subscribers is multifaceted. So we're going to talk about Netflix, and then we're going to talk about Warner Brothers Discovery. Let's start with Netflix, though. One method they're using is the cheaper tier. So Netflix Basic with ads, $6.99 a month, just launched last week in Australia, Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Korea, Mexico, Spain, the UK, and the US, and is not available on your Apple TV, although support for that is coming soon. It's also not available on Chromecasts prior to Google TV. Also not on the PlayStation 3, so they've got a little work to do on this, but it's going to be available on all of that. Also, some of the shows aren't available because they don't have the rights to run ads next to them. The Verge's Jay Peters took the new service for a spin. Just to see how bad the ad load was. Netflix was saying it would be like 4 to 5 minutes of ads per hour. And Peter said it was pretty much that. They didn't go over that, but it was kind of inconsistent. So ads were about 15 to 30 seconds, but you never knew where they were going to show up. You can pause the ads, but you can't skip them. Netflix branded shows always had a pre-roll ad. So there was pretty consistently one before the show started, but whether they had one in the middle or not varied. Sometimes they didn't have any. Sometimes they had as many as 3. And then some shows like Community and Seinfeld didn't have any ads at all. Dunaway, are you tempted to get the discount to go ads on Netflix?
Well, I do not mind ads. Typically, I watch stuff like Tubi.tv, which is ad sponsored. But with Netflix, I'm a little more conflicted. I don't like ads during movies as much. TV shows doesn't really bother me because usually the TV shows I've watched in the past are usually network TV shows, and they cut them just right. They fade out just the right time. It's very natural, organic. I'm a little worried. I don't want to be the first to try this out because I feel like in the very early experiences is going to be ads, just like YouTube. YouTube's the worst about it. You'll be watching something on YouTube and just right in the middle of a sentence, it's like boom, you're an ad. I don't care for that. So yeah, I'm okay with ads, but not until you get it down pat and make me feel comfortable about it. Cutting in the right places.
Although I will say that the machine learning that YouTube has been using lately is supernatural. Like we've done
better.
monologue episodes that were themed around a certain thing, and then we would pause to take a breath before we're about to talk about, I don't know, ballistics or calibers or whatever. And then suddenly during that break, it would recognize this was a natural pause. And then a political ad showed up like, do you think guns are great? And I'm like, whoa, 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 this is not what I want. And so it's almost too good. But Tom, you framed something in a way that I don't think I've ever thought about it before. I have always assumed that a ad-supported version of a paid service is nothing but, the marijuana that'll lead you into eventually doing heroin. But the idea that it could be customer retention is phenomenal to me. And I of the four of us, Bryce, Brian, Tom, like would any of us consider like you're about to drop a thing, but if you could pay half as much, you would keep it with ads?
I've done it before.
Really?
I think is Peacock, I think is that way,
Yeah,
if I'm not
Peacock,
mistaken.
Peacock, you can pay the highest price possible, and they still show you ads for other Peacock things. I have a whole thing about that. That's neither here nor there.
But yeah, I've dropped back on a Peacock before. So I'm like, I'm not watching anything right now, but there's a few shows I occasionally do want to watch, and I'm like, I can deal with some ads. And then if they start annoying me, you can just kill them right there. You just log in and you upgrade and goodbye commercials. See you later.
I would sooner rather just turn off the service and pause it for a month or so and then come back to it when it's time. In general, to me, I would much rather not have ads at all, and I would rather pay for when I'm using the service and when I'm watching the stuff than keep a cheaper version that it's got ads and is even less enjoyable to watch.
Tom?
Yeah, I sort of feel like I'm lucky in that I am no longer 1990s era Tom, where I'm slicing and dicing my money so fine that I have to look at Netflix and go, well, I want to keep it, but I need to save these $6 a month. But I know people are. I've been there before, so I get where that's a choice. For me personally, especially because I'm doing this show and it's all tax exempt, I would probably only go back to an ad version after canceling a service. In other words, I stopped subscribing to it because I wasn't watching anything. And then when I wanted to go back and try it, I just didn't want to go full throttle yet because I wanted to test it. So I don't want to spend too much of money on it, which is what I did with Peacock, right? I originally signed up with the ad version. And then once we started watching things on it regularly, then we upgraded to get rid of the ads because they started to cause a problem. But I that's where I'm at, is the cheaper ad version is more of a, well, this will allow me to dip my toe in the water without spending as much money quite yet.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track with the thinly slicing things, because you find yourself in little corners that are so precise. Like, for example, I don't hate that we're spending $2.99 for every time we buy and watch an episode of Miami Vice. Boy, oh boy, considering that I'm only going to watch it once and never again, I wouldn't mind an ad if I was only paying $1 per episode for that.
Sure. Or nothing. Yeah, if you could just stream it somewhere. And for people who don't realize, we're watching Miami Vice and Spoilerin time. It was on Peacock, but it is no longer on Peacock. You can only get it by buying it. So, all right.
Tom.
Meanwhile, Warner Brothers Discovery is taking the consolidation route. So another way you can go is to say, well, we'll keep people, by combining forces. We'll take two of our streaming services and put them into one. That way, we've reduced the choice they have to make, and they're not choosing between two of our products. We're giving lots of people lots of cool stuff, and they'll all want to come into our tent. It is planning to combine HBO Max and Discovery Plus this spring. So they've moved it up. They originally had said they were going to combine it in the summer. Now they're going to do it faster. The two services right now combined have 94.9 million subscribers, which would put it starting to be in the class of Disney Plus and Netflix, which are 200 million subscribers plus. Though it's not clear when they combine them if some of those are dupes. Some people might have both of them right now, so they'd lose some, but probably not a lot. It's not clear what it will look like, what it will be called, but they did clarify that it will cost more. Warner's head of streaming, JB Perrette, said prices will head, quote unquote, north, which I assume means up. It's very North centric of Perrette to say that.
Very
but I assume
anti-Australian, if I can say. Yeah.
HBO Max is now $14.99 a month, or $9.99 with ads. Discovery Plus is $6.99 a month, or $4.99 with ads. By comparison, Netflix's top tier is $15.49 a month. So if it goes up from $14.99, it's going to go back to being the most expensive service out there. Warner also plans to offer its own free ad-supported streaming service, or FAST service, next year as well. So that might be proffered as an alternative for folks who don't want to pay the new combined tier. Dunaway, how does all this strike you?
Well, it hits me just fine because I have Discovery Plus because I watch a lot of true crime stuff. And then I've got HBO Max where, I watch my Game of Thrones and now the House of Dragons and John Oliver. I watch a couple of things on HBO Max. So this is fine by me. Yeah. Combine the two. Just don't give me another HBO something, HBO Live, Go, Max. Just figure it out. Just stick with Max or something. I don't care about Discovery Plus. That name doesn't hold any value to me, to be honest with you. True crime, maybe.
Oh, you do not cause Brian to brand Hulk out on this. We'll get the emails at cordkillers@gmail.com. But I do wonder if maybe there's a bit of a tactical strategy happening, that by moving things faster to consolidate everything, regardless of what the name is, because you can always rebrand it later, like there's a value to just having energy and momentum and being in that top three. If, as we've talked about over the last month or so, it looks like we've hit peak number of over-the-top streaming services, now we get the great consolidation, the Deadpool, as we talked about last week. Maybe just by doing literally anything, you're able to capture more headlines, capture more subscribers, put them all in a big pool, and you could sort out exactly what you're going to call it later. How does that land with you, Tom?
Yeah, I don't know that most people are going to care, except for the first day that they post on Mastodon about how upset they are about the name. Most people aren't really going to care one way or the other. It's going to be the price and what the shows are. I'm curious, Dunaway, do you pay for the ad-free or the ad versions of Discovery Plus?
Once, like you said earlier, Tom, I'm in a financial place where I'm much more stable, and so I do get the ad-free on both of those.
Okay, so you're paying $22 a month for the combined.
Yeah.
What would you pay for the combined once they actually put these two together?
If you put them together, I'm only paying $19.99. I'm sorry, HBO Discovery Plus. Here, I'm not going 22.
So you will not keep paying what you're paying now once they combine.
Right. This is what happens whenever they change. Anytime you change a price point that we've agreed upon, I'm fine. Like, I've had HBO Max. I don't even watch it that much, to be honest with you. And I'm like, I probably should cut it off. But I haven't thought anything about it until they start talking about prices. And then I'm like, let me think about this for a minute. What am I doing here? I'm really spending too much money. And then I
feel like $20 is what they're going to come with, because it's going to be north of 15, but they're not going to want to put a 2. So I think $19.99 sounds about right.
Yeah. Which will be fine for me personally, but once again.
So I wonder if we're trending towards like a 4-player console war. You've got Amazon Prime, Netflix, Disney Plus, and everybody else. So if Discovery and HBO Max together can make themselves the value proposition, even at $19.99 or $20 or whatever, and say, look at how much more stuff we have than everybody else, then if you're not really thinking about quality, if you're not thinking about specific shows that you're emotionally entwined with, I don't know, there could be something there.
And I think they're going to move a lot of Discovery stuff to the FAST service as sort of a way to get you in the tent. They'll probably put some of the scripted stuff from HBO Max side as well, like first couple episodes sort of thing there. But I imagine they're going to move people to the FAST service or to the upgraded service, and they're going to push the combined service as live sports. So they're going to be doing a bunch of NBA stuff on there that's on TNT and TBS right now. They're going to be doing live news. They're going to be pushing their CNN stuff on there. And then they're going to be talking about all the great programming, the best programming in the world from HBO, the best reality shows in the world from food and Discovery, science, et cetera, et cetera. They've got a strong pitch to make, I think.
Yeah, although I suspect when it comes to the advertising portion, they'll probably focus on the most shows, the most episodes, the most opportunities, the biggest...
the most sports, the most news, the most live TV. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. And the most best shows.
Even like the most Emmys, and then do that thing where it's like they're counting technical Emmys and all of that.
Do you mean the Max Emmys?
The maximum. Get the max.
The Max Emmys. Oh,
the Max
damn.
Emmys.
No, it's baked into the name. Okay, can we do a quick pulse check on where we are as far as the name? Are they going to keep Max or HBO or Discovery? Who, like, which of the egos win?
I honestly, if it were me, I would just keep it HBO Max with Discovery as a channel now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by the numbers, Discovery is, I believe, more financially successful and eyeballs more successful, but prestige-wise, HBO Max is more successful.
So you use the Discovery name inside the app, but you just keep the service named HBO Max. It's perfect. It's got HBO and a maximum number of other things.
If you wanted to do a gentle, I'm just going to throw this out here in case I'm right. This is one of those, blind dart throws. Instead of HBO Max, the most I would recommend is maybe call it Max with HBO or something. Like just
I could
make
see
it
them
Max.
doing something where they're like, it's Max, and inside Max you get CNN, HBO,
right.
Discovery, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So no hyphens in. Not like a bad marriage or nothing. Are you okay?
Or a good marriage, or a healthy
good marriage. I'm sorry, you're right.
Wow, I didn't know that we were going to talk about smashing the patriarchy. Hey, man, if you want to smash the patriarchy, head on over to the patriarchy's least favorite website, patreon.com. It's mad because it sounds so much like patriarchy. Meanwhile, patriarchy's trying to be all like kings and bloodlines and entitlement to riches. And Patreon is like, I don't know, maybe let people do what they want, when they want, on whatever device they choose. Maybe you keep them live and independent by giving just $1 an episode and becoming a personal boss to Tom and Brian and Bryce. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. You'll get your own RSS feed. You'll get early access to content and exclusive access to our After Talk segment. Nailed it. Landed it.
Fight
Take
fire
that,
with
patriarchy.
fire.
Gotcha. Got him.
Fight fire with fire. Give money to two old white guys at patreon.com/Cordkillers.
Yes. I don't know how to spin that, Tom. You really threw me a tough one there.
Well, you just blindly give us your money. We'll talk about how to watch.
By the way, kudos to Bryce, who was able to sell that with laughter, but also have his hand on the trigger. So as you said how to watch, he was able to transition over. That was amazing.
Well done. Well
Very
done,
talented.
Bryce Castillo. Channels like Showtime and Stars have been available as add-ons to other services for a while now. I'm not just talking about cable services. I'm Talking about Sling TV, Hulu Live. You can even add them on to non-cable replacement services like Apple TV or Amazon Prime Video. YouTube TV, which is YouTube's version of cable TV, has offered them as well. But now you can add them to YouTube. Not YouTube TV, just regular old YouTube proper without having to have a YouTube TV subscription. It's called Primetime Channels, available in the United States with more than 30 channels that you can add to YouTube. When you add a channel this way, they become like your YouTube channel subscriptions. So they appear on your YouTube homepage next to your other subscriptions. The new Star Trek Picard might show up right next to Daily Tech News Show, right next to Carrie Cake's Tour of Incheon, right next to Modern Rogue. Paid channels will integrate with their free YouTube channels. So you could pay for AMC Plus on YouTube and go right from watching a trailer for Interview with the Vampire on AMC's YouTube channel into watching the actual new series. There's also cast interviews, behind the scenes video, stuff like that. Among the channels available on the Movies and TV Shows hub in YouTube are Showtime, Paramount Plus, Stars, AMC Plus, Epic, Shudder, Acorn TV, Hallmark Movies Now, and a bunch more. Dunaway, would you do this? Would you add Stars to YouTube?
I
Showtime?
don't know. That's complicated. I have a love-hate with YouTube, and so I subscribed to Premium for the first time just this year so that I could listen to retro historical videos but while having my phone clicked off, so I could watch.
When your screen's locked, you get background listening.
Right.
That's what it's called.
So I can continue to listen. Correct. So I've never really watched much of anything on here, but now I'm curious. But I just don't know. I feel like that's just kind of out of YouTube's lane for me in my mind. They got to convince me.
So
is what I'm saying.
Let me offer the following postulate, and people can respond at cordkillers@gmail.com. On paper, this is bonkers, stupid, and I would never support it. The idea that YouTube as a brand, which already has a problem of figuring out exactly what it wants to be. Is it a low resolution vlogger, or is it a high resolution incredible think piece, or what have you? Is it shorts? Is it long form? Are we rewarding viewer minutes? Is it a cable service? All of those things are so bonkers that the idea of going even more bonkers is just stupid. But on the flip side, Brian just nailed it. It took you however long, you skipped over YouTube Red, you skipped over YouTube Premium, up until there came one moment where you just wanted to hear that song and be able to turn off the screen. So you press shut up, I'll do the thing. I don't know what I'm signing up for, just do the thing. Which subverts the whole idea that maybe yes, all the on paper, all of these things are dumb. But if it watches you listen and watch to enough reviews about, let's say, Walking Dead episodes or whatever, at some point it'll just say, oh, by the way, did you ever see this this Walking Dead featurette? And you'll just find yourself at that yes or no, do I click whatever this thing is, just give me the thing, and then you'll be fine. So I actually don't know what the right answer is on this one. Tom, do you have a read either way?
I kind of feel like this is genius. It may not work because they may not be able to get everyone to play ball. But the fact that Paramount Plus is on here, and I know Paramount Plus is also on Amazon and Apple TV, so they've got a different approach. But if this could become, I just want a platform so I can have one bill and I can easily add and remove channels as I need them. That's what a lot of people say is like, I'm tired of having to track down a bunch of subscriptions. I just want one platform. And Amazon's trying to be that. Apple's trying to be that. And now YouTube is trying to be that. I think is genius, because what Apple and Amazon Prime don't have is a place where you're already sitting and watching stuff. And if you realize, well, wait a minute, you mean I could watch all my stuff in one app and have one bill? If YouTube could get HBO Max, Peacock, Disney. It starts Netflix. I mean, it starts to feel less and less possible as I say those names, right? But if they could, that would be the magic wand. And they don't have a competing service because YouTube itself is not competing with those. YouTube itself is a different area that all of them have channels on. Netflix has a channel. Disney has a channel on YouTube. If they can convince them like, hey, this is synchronous, like you're just going to extend the relationship you already have with your fan base on here, that could be really compelling for both consumers and brands.
So here's my question. I think of Netflix as a channel. I think of Amazon as a marketplace. YouTube, there was a time I thought of it as a channel, but now I wonder if maybe they're making a play to be a marketplace. Like, what if all the back catalog, I mean, this is highly speculative, but let's say the whole back catalog of Scam School or Modern Rogue or whatever, they were like, hey, would you like to charge 50 cents for anyone who wants to access any of these previous 20-minute episodes that you've done for the last 10 years?
You can already do something similar to that, right? You can do subscription things, so it wouldn't be a big leap for them to just go right to what you're talking about.
So maybe what they're trying to do is be a literal marketplace of ideas, a marketplace of brands, of
right.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, from Carrie's video blogs to Scam School back episodes to Star Trek Picard, right? The whole gamut. Because they also have, people don't realize, they have movies and TV shows through Google, what used to be Google Play Movies and TV shows, also integrated into YouTube. So you can already buy and rent movies and TV shows through YouTube. So this is just the next piece of the puzzle here.
Bryce, is that too high a hill to climb? Or could you ever think of YouTube in the same way you think of Amazon as a place you go to get the media for the things that you want?
That's tough because I do watch a lot of YouTube. I'm in YouTube a lot.
Right.
And there are creators who I like to support, but I don't do any of that through YouTube as a machine. You know, I'm not buying my TV and movies there. I'm going and buying them somewhere else.
Okay.
So I'm not having I haven't had a transaction with YouTube in that way that some of the stuff that they've been rolling out, like super chats and subscriptions and stuff, I haven't gone through those steps.
I guess what I'm speculating is right now, let's say there was a conspiracy theory that over the course of the second season of Gilligan's Island, they explained how to build a thermonuclear bomb or whatever. If you're like, well, I want to put this to the test and see if it's real, where would you go? And I feel like we would all go to Amazon or Apple TV or some store, some marketplace. Other people, though, I think would go to think pieces on YouTube to find clips of all these things under fair use. And why not go ahead and offer, just give us $5 and you can have the entire, you could sign up for whoever has the license at this point.
Yeah, right.
I think
I'm
the
not
hardest part
sure
for
it's
me-
going to work because I think they would have to get everybody on board to really get momentum with people and change that attitude that Bryce expressed, which is, I go to YouTube to watch video, but I don't pay them for things. I don't buy things there. I think they need to make a change of behavior. And I'm not sure they will be able to get enough people in this tent to make a change in behavior, but it's an interesting idea that they could. It's not impossible. All right, let's talk about something that is possible. What to watch in Under Surveillance.
Like real estate, it's all about location. Under surveillance.
James Gunn has been talking about some of his plans for DC. On Twitter, he told fans that he and Safran are listening to all their concerns, all their ideas, Legends of Tomorrow, the Suicide Squad cut. But he wrote, all our initial focus is on the story going forward, hammering out the new DCU and telling the biggest story ever told across multiple films, television shows, and animated projects. Dunaway, what does he mean by the biggest story ever told?
That's a good question. I don't even know what the biggest story ever told is. I'm assuming that he's talking about the whole DC universe. And
I'm sorry, Brian, according to these pieces of paper in front of me, you were brought onto the show specifically as the spokesman for James Gunn. No idea?
Well,
What is he
I don't-
referring to? The biggest story ever told? Is it Superman? Is that it?
I
The
don't think
Justice
it's
League?
the biggest
What is
story
it?
told.
I already told the Justice League.
Is he talking about the whole universe in itself? I mean, because of the I don't know. I don't know. I really think he's just trying to. Really, what the DC problem is, of course, with the DCU is it is really just a problem with this audience. We've kind of lost trust with a lot of things in the past, and so doing this kind of grassroots Twitter. What do you guys think? I think that's a good start. It's a good
I
start.
have no idea what he means by that.
No.
By the big.
I could think he means like, oh, the origins of Superman and Batman, but I can't imagine he's going to go back and tell an origin story again.
Oh God! Please
So
don't.
then it's another the Crisis on Infinite Earths, maybe, but they've kind of touched on that on the CW.
Right.
So
They
Brian, what are they talking
everything?
about?
Okay. Branding, Brian, activate. Rah! Okay, you got your MCU. It's all highly structured. They got this rigid ladder about a story with continuity, and then they have to break continuity by expanding into multiverses. Everything all cubicles, all Disney. Oh, so constricted. You know what would be bigger is to tell whatever kind of story you want at any time you want, with all the characters you want, with whatever actors you want, and nothing matters. There's no continuity issues. You could tell stories of little children. You could tell stories of adults. You could tell stories that take place in the 1800s, in the 1900s, in the 2700s. It's the biggest story ever told, is what I'm imagining he's implying by this, and that's me
And
being
you
generous.
capitalize that when you say biggest story ever told?
You certainly don't call it the greatest
probably
story ever told.
overparsing.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, maybe he is going to combine the Bible with the DCU.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. It does
Welcome
say
to our
biggest
new
story, doesn't
segment. It's called Steel Manning, the Man of Steel.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm nowhere different than I was last week when we mentioned James Gunn is taking over co-running DC, which is like, can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah.
Well, and here it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
The start.
HBO,
sorry, just to put a button on it. The same way that
you just wanted to wait till I started the next story before
No,
you gave me the button.
no.
Okay, fine. No, I get it.
I just want
get
to
it. It's a trap.
clarify my. You know what? The case rests.
Button in
No,
like
you gotta tell us
YouTube
now.
AI.
Okay. So one trick that you may have figured out from 2 seasons of World's Greatest Con is, what does it mean to be the greatest? Do you mean the most expansive, the biggest, the smallest, the most effective, the cleverest, the most fun, the biggest roller coaster ride? Are we talking about story quality or whatever? So if he's using the word biggest in the same way that we use greatest in World's Greatest Con, then sure, by all means, just say that. Similar to saying the number one. Number one by what? By this study, or by bookings, or what have you.
Maybe it's a mission statement then. In
Yeah.
other words, like in the writer's room, you make sure your story fits in, can be described as one of the biggest stories ever told, and then we'll let you do it.
Actually, I could totally see that. Somebody writes on a board, or they engrave it, post it up there. It's like, how is this part of the biggest story in comic books history? And then that's a lens through which everybody views that. I'd buy that.
I kind of like that. Yeah, I think we cracked it. Okay, good. HBO has set January 15th as the premiere date for The Last of Us, the show based on the video game The Last of Us, which stars Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey as Joel and Ellie. Time to check in with Brian Brushwood on how his gut feels about this show.
Hopeful.
You're getting it January 15th.
What about you, Brian Dunaway?
I'm hopeful as well. I saw the little tease they did in that giant big look what we're doing next year, and it looked good, but it wasn't enough to really know what's going to happen. So I'm excited, very hopeful. We'll see.
Beware the Ides of January. January 15th. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be
It's
fun.
close to my birthday.
Netflix announced Monday that it will be making movies and TV shows in the Gears of War video game universe. A live-action feature film will come first, followed by an adult animated series. And if those do well, other stories will follow. Dunaway, Gears of War movie, you in?
I love the game play. Story, meh. So I'm not as excited about this one. I'll check it out for sure. But I love games. I love properties that are based on games. But yeah, not too hopeful on this one.
I had a curious experience reading this headline because it made me think, oh, that would be pretty good. Not as good as a StarCraft movie. And then I thought, why doesn't Blizzard do movies? And then I thought, oh, wait, they did. and I was left feeling empty and less hopeful about The Last of Us.
Oh, no. Well, here's something you can feel unhopeful about because it's over. HBO has canceled Westworld. That means that the 4th season is the final season. Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy had hoped for a 5th season. They had planned to return the story to the original Westworld, but it is not to be. A source told Variety the show was not canceled over cost-cutting measures.
I mean, that's definitely
Dunaway,
clear.
will you miss Westworld?
Yeah. You know what? I'm thrilled. I went out on a total high on Westworld. I experienced the very last season of Westworld in the very best way possible, which involved weeks of hearing meditations and storytelling from Bryce and Tom. And then I got to just binge the whole thing. And that's the right way to blow up the Death Star.
Love it. The Westworld, I didn't watch except for the first season, and I kind of got bored with it. I'm sorry.
That's the other best way to enjoy Westworld.
Right.
You can finish the last 3 knowing that there won't be any more. You're not going to get
I'm
left
actually
hanging.
excited now. Now I know I can go back and watch 3 and be done.
Star
kidding.
Wars
It's okay.
Andor getting a lot of love out there. Star Wars Andor series creator Tony Gilroy told Collider that season 2 will begin filming on November 21st. Andor has 2 seasons planned. The first season covers a year in Cass Andor's life in 12 episodes. We're close to finishing that right now. And the second season, the one they're about to start shooting, will have 4 blocks of 3 episodes each block covering a year, leading up to the events of the movie Rogue One. Are you watching Andor, Dunaway?
I am watching Andor. This I'm excited about, and I'm glad to see there's a second season. And I like how they've outlined it so far. So this looks good stuff. This looks good. Liking it.
I had heard a bit of chatter on Mastodon that that Andor was not getting the love that it needed, and there was a question about whether or not that story would continue. But
It dips some, but it's like some of these other Star Wars series.
yeah,
It'll dip some.
But I do like look, if I had a choice between just getting one season of this wonderful best thing that Disney's ever done with Star Wars, anything, or a second one where it's like 3-4 mini movies, I'm fine with it. Just give me more Andor. I'm not scratching my arm. You're scratching your arm. I'm fine.
Yeah. I'm not melting Andor down into a spoon.
Mm-mm.
Oh wait, I thought you meant you were dissolving the human being as if he was Beskar into a Beskar spoon.
Yeah, and then shooting him up. Exactly. That's the metaphor of how good Andor is. I'm enjoying it too. I think it is. I still like The Mandalorian for different reasons, though.
Oh, yeah.
Andor is the first show that really allows me to explore the Star Wars universe without baggage, which is something I know Brian has been calling for a long time, and a lot of other people have too. So I'm excited to see how they connect it. Remember, Andor is a prequel. This is one of the hardest things to pull off, a prequel. It is a literal prequel to Rogue One, and it doesn't feel that way in any way at all.
Agreed.
In somewhat related news, Lucasfilm announced more casting for The Acolyte. The Acolyte is another Disney Plus show run by Russian doll creator Leslie Headland, set in the final days of the High Republic, so long before the events of the Skywalker saga. It focuses on a Jedi Master and a Padawan investigating sinister crimes. Lucasfilm already announced Amanda Stenberg as part of the cast. In addition to them is Carrie Ann Moss and Squid Game's Lee Jung-jae.
Yep.
That's The Acolyte, run by Russian doll creator Leslie Headland.
This sounds good. I'm excited. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm excited. Is it going to be kind of like Loki, though? Is that going to be kind of the thing? Like, so they're investigating Jedi crimes? I thought it was more supposed to be.
I think they're seeking
dark
out the
side.
Sith. That's my
Okay.
guess. Is there's traces of the Sith first start bubbling up.
I
Yeah.
did watch the Russian Doll and I liked it, so I think that style would work really well with a darker take. So I'm down with that.
All right, let's talk about what we've got our eyes on. What have you been watching, Brian Dunaway?
I've been watching Mike Judge's Beavis and Butthead on the Paramount Plus. He's got it right, man. He's aged, and I think he's doing his best work. Have you watched any of this yet, Tom?
These are the new ones. So you're watching the brand new ones?
The brand new ones. We're no longer in Beavis and Butthead season 9, which was from 2019. We're actually looking at Mike Judge's this original on the Paramount Plus Beavis and Butthead. The follow-ups to the recent movie they had on Paramount Plus.
No, I haven't seen these yet.
Oh, you haven't seen these yet? These are fantastic. They dive a lot deeper. You of course you remember all of the silly humor from the old Beavis and Butthead. The original YouTube commenters.
Frog baseball.
And so this time they're back and they're diving deeper into the characters, and we get to find out. I don't want to spoil anything here because there's some things that they dug deeper into Beavis and Butthead's characters.
If you had to describe, like, are they more focused on the characters and the world that they exist in, or the satire and the commentary on the world we exist in?
Right.
Which way is the spotlight focused?
It's more inward than outward this time around. They watch videos like back in the day. They would have watched music videos on MTV. Now they watch a mix of videos they see on YouTube, as well as just any video on YouTube. And it's all about Mike Judge sitting there and making commentary about the videos, and then they'll break out to a story like they used to do. And they'll explore the characters, and they get deep into the motivations of who Beavis and Butthead are, and some of the deeper and darker things.
Wow.
Mike Judge, I think, is just a great writer. He's hilarious too.
Bold take,
right? Especially in this day and age. Because at first I was a little worried. I was like, oh, can Beavis and Butthead? Because I went back and watched a few of the older episodes, and I'm like, this isn't really funny. This doesn't really strike me as funny. Some things did because some things were nostalgia. But I was a little concerned how it fit into 2022. And I think it fits in quite well. There's a little social commentary about what's going on today and how these characters fit in today. Because once again, I don't want to spoil too much for it because I don't know. Am I the only one that likes it? I know my spouse doesn't, but she never liked him back in the day either.
Cordkillers@gmail.com. That's where you got to write in to support Brian Dunaway on this one.
Yeah. I can't say I don't do or don't because I haven't watched them yet. Maybe I'll give it a whirl. Brushwood, what are you watching?
Yes, I'm watching more Andor, but we already talked about that. Just everybody, please watch it. It's great. But do you remember in the very, very early days of Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, before they had a lot of originals, they would just play a lot of animated adult feature or shows that didn't get renewed for a second season. One of them was Mission Hill, co-created by Bill Oakley. I recently ran out of books on Audible, and I saw an Audible original. This is an audio thing, Space 1969, which amazingly, it's headed up by Natasha Lyonne. Is that her name? From Russian Doll.
From Russian Doll. Yeah, wow.
Good job.
It begins with JFK being sworn in for his third term after surviving an assassination attempt years ago and losing an eye and only looking more awesome with an eye patch, and goes to a space station where Natasha Lyonne encounters Martin Lewis. It's very, very funny. It's very, very good. I loved all 4.5 hours of it. Highly, highly, highly recommended.
As soon as you told me about it, I was like, yeah, I've got to get this. So it is sitting on my phone, waiting for me to get done with this month's Sword and Laser pick, so I can dive in. I can't wait to try it out. The more you tell me about it, the better it sounds.
Yes. This is me actively trying to not tell you more about it. Otherwise, it's just Brian tells you,
don't want to push
about
it.
this.
You don't want to push
this
it too
whole
far.
thing. Yeah,
It's tough.
Well, for me, what I had my eyes on this weekend was as I was sitting here realizing, like, oh, I didn't really watch anything new. It's because I watched so much sports without a cable subscription. That thing that they say, like, well, I don't want to cut my cable subscription because of sports. I watched Game 6 of the World Series. That was the final game that the Houston Astros won. I watched the championship of Major League Soccer won by our local LAFC club here. I watched the first round of the CFL Grey Cup playoffs where my BC Lions prevailed. And it was all done either through DirecTV Stream or ESPN Plus. It was a lot of like background, just having it on, sort of keeping an eye on it most of the time. But yeah, I just wanted to emphasize, like, I watched all the sports and I didn't have a cable subscription.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to revisit, like, how many people, cordkillers@gmail.com, how many of you guys get in 100% of your sports information without ever trying to get sports information? Because I know that when I go to the local sports bar and grill, I'm only there to play Marvel Snap and have a salad. And yet I absorb sports information.
You just know all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's Dunaway, you watch a lot of sports or no?
I watch a little sports. So I'm mostly football. I watch a little college football. I watch a little NFL football. And most of that's done through, I got ESPN Plus because I have the Disney Hulu ESPN package.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to watch some NFL, if my team is doing well, I kind of always start at the beginning of the season, like, okay, if my team is doing well, I'll subscribe to your stupid NFL Plus thing. Otherwise, forget it, because I'm not watching everybody. But yeah. And I got my stats on my fantasy league football team, so that's good enough for me. I'll catch the highlights here and there, and I can still get a pretty good bit of sports in.
Who's your NFL team?
Oh, the Carolina Panthers, who I'm not talking about right now.
Oh, okay, you're just your local team. Yeah,
I'm not.
Okay,
Yeah. I'm all about local, man. That's how I live. Before we had the Panthers, I was a Falcons fan because I was the closest team physically
closest one.
I could
Yeah.
put. Yeah, it's closest one. There you go. That's my team.
All right, Bryce, what should we be on the lookout for?
Hey, I got a pick for you guys. I ended up watching a new anime on Netflix over the weekend. It's called Exception. This is interesting. It's a sci-fi drama anime about a crew who are on a vessel to terraform a ship before a generation ship full of humans arrives at the planet. But because of reasons, the crew of that ship can't just transport. They can't just warp to the planet. They have to be 3D printed at the planet. So they are clones of people on that generation ship. Cool. Oh. But then a solar flare happens during the printing, and one of the crew members has got this monstrous, chimeric sort of look. And it leads to all these philosophical questions about, is this life? Is this humanity? What happens if there are multiple of people on the same ship? And if you subscribe to the Bryce slicing technique of watching things,
which for the uninitiated is hit play when you're bored, skip to the end.
If you're just looking for a 2-hour jaunt, I recommend the first 2 and the last 2 episodes of the show. They get you everything you need. It's just one long sci-fi movie. Another great thing, that the character designs maybe feel a little off-putting at first. If you know Yoshitaka Amano, he's the guy who did all of the illustrations of characters for Final Fantasy. He was the character designer for that. And so when you see that, you look at some of this and go, oh, yeah. Oh, wow. This looks like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No wonder that sword is so ridiculously long.
And so there you go. It's called Exception. There are 8 episodes in total. It is on Netflix. If you've got something we should be on the lookout for, please email it to us, cordkillers@gmail.com. Thank you.
Well, Halloween is over, which means it's time for you to buy Christmas presents from Brian.
Well, not from me. Buy them from our friends over at Doghouse Systems, doghousesystems.com/rogue. As a matter of fact, you know what? I can confidently state that my 14-year-old daughter is not watching this. She will not listen to this. She will not know about this. But she turns 15 in just 2 days. So I hit up the folks over at Doghouse Systems and I'm like, I've made a terrible mistake. I introduced BioShock to my daughter and now she notices that she doesn't have a mid-tier gaming PC. So I need one really fast, and I don't mind paying full price. Luckily, I went to doghousesystems.com/rogue. They're going to upgrade it, and they're going to ship it overnight right from Dallas, Texas, right here deep in the heart of Texas. Great people. Do yourself a favor. Team up with them, man.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enough. That's plenty.
No,
I just wanna
everything
make sure.
else is. Oh, no. This is me holding my powder, Tom. Holidays, they approach. Soon you will need gifts. Soon you will be hearing from Brian.
Is coming.
Some people do. I mean, there are some people who are already thinking about.
Okay, those people
Could
go to scamstuff.com.
To scamstuff.com.
Okay.
Gear for the Modern
But
Rogue and get a bunch
don't
of good
actually buy anything yet because the bargains are coming.
stuff.
You know what? As a matter of fact, sign up on the email list. Go to gimme.scamstuff.com. I don't even know what we're giving away this week.
No one
but
knows.
Sign up and you'll be on the email list and you'll hear about the bargains. The bargains are coming. Well, what did the Starks say? Bargains are coming.
Bargains.
Yeah. He who declared the discount must wield this discount sword.
Yes.
That gives you the
that's
discount.
And then his
The old
head was
Stark
cut
say.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't lose your head. Sign up now. Let's move on to the front lines.
What else can we ruin?
How about this? Comcast and Charter have created a joint venture. In other words, a company owned by Comcast and Charter to create a streaming service that includes streaming devices, content, and a platform for content and advertising. The company will be called Xumo, and the existing FAST service opened by Comcast called Xumo is being renamed Xumo Play. Xumo Play will be the anchor app on the Xumo devices, as well as remaining available independently of Xumo devices. Comcast's Flex streaming box will be renamed Xumo Streambox, and Comcast's Class TV line will become Xumo TV. So basically, the companies are just contributing their cord cutting stuff to this and making a cord cutting company.
God.
I hate it.
I'm sure everyone else will love it, though.
Man, if there's one thing I love is a brand I hate changing its name to another name that sounds dumb.
There's Sling, and then there's Sling TV, and then there's Sling AT&T.TV, and the
Okay. Meanwhile, Paramount reported Paramount Plus grew to 46 million subscribers in Q3. Its ad-supported Pluto TV service added 2.4 million monthly subscribers to 72 million, with ads with strong double-digit year-over-year growth in total viewing hours. Paramount's chief financial officer Naveen Chopra said that in an earnings call Wednesday, the company sees, quote, opportunities to increase price on Paramount Plus, and that we'll be able to see it, quote, do that in the future.
So they're gonna raise the price of Paramount Plus.
It sounds weird to cheer for people raising prices for this kind of thing, but again, that's a sign of brand maturity and growth into, actually having
I don't know
what they promised.
If Paramount were smart, they'd team up with Lionsgate to create Pluto, the spin-off company, and Pluto TV would become Pluto Play, and they could put out a Pluto TV.
Tom, I don't know why you're so fascinated with brand titles, but I look forward to emails at cordkillers@gmail.com.
I'll try to dial it back from now on. I apologize. Roku added 2.3 million streaming accounts to reach 65.4 million last quarter. Total streaming hours also rose 1.1 billion to end up at 21.9 billion hours in Q3. Revenue was up 12%, but the company lost money, 88 cents a share, which was less than expected, but still losing money. Roku warned that an advertising slowdown would see revenue fall 7.5% next quarter. AMC Networks, however, is bringing 11 new free ad-supported channels to the Roku channel. So if you go to Roku channel, you'll be able to watch some AMC content. And speaking of AMC, AMC Networks itself announced that it has 11.1 million paid streaming subscribers across all its services, which are AMC Plus, Acorn TV, Shudder, Sundance Now, All Black, and High Dive. Hopes to have 25 million by 2025.
Dude, those numbers are no joke, especially when you consider that the paid streaming subscribers don't even count. I guess the streaming accounts 65 million. That's incredible.
Yeah, the Roku numbers are no joke. You're absolutely right. AMC, on the other hand, should probably team up with Paramount to make Pluto devices.
And they can put it on a planet, Tom. But you know they're going to put it on
There's
Jupiter.
a celestial dwarf.
They're going to
Come
put
on.
it on Jupiter.
All right. Disney's been raising prices on various versions of the service, and its Hulu Live TV cable replacement service is the latest. Starting December 8th, the Hulu Live with ads, Disney Plus without ads, and ESPN Plus bundle goes from $70 to $75 a month. For Hulu without ads in that same bundle, it's $83 a month. Sling TV is also raising the price of its orange and blue packages, each by $5 to $40 a month. Orange is the one with ESPN and ABC. Blue is the one with Fox and NBC. Crystal clear. When you think of Fox, what color do you think of? You think of Fox News. You think about politics. You think, that's right, blue. When you think NBC, you think of MSNBC. You think, well, I guess that's blue. Yeah, I don't know.
When I think ABC, I think oranges.
Go on.
Hello, DirecTV, cable. Can you guys take me back?
The point of these is that everybody's raising their prices. That's
Right.
really the story here, I think.
Again, like I am firmly of the thought that this is good and indicates a positional superiority in the market and a maturity.
All right, a few other notes here. Netflix renewed Sandman for a second season. Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. Marvel's Agatha Coven of Chaos has added Aubrey Plaza to the cast. CBS News streaming, NBC News Now, and ABC News Live, those are all streaming news services in the United States, are going to do election coverage throughout the day Tuesday and then begin simulcasting with their broadcast networks during prime time. So you'll be able to stream lots of election coverage that way. Jimmy Kimmel will host the 95th Oscars next year. That'll be his third time. He previously hosted the Oscars in 2017 and 2018. During Stranger Things Day. Oh, by the way, it was Stranger Things Day on November 6th. And during that day, Netflix announced the first episode of season 5 of Stranger Things will be called The Crawl. Crawl, like a pub crawl, The Crawl. And it will be written by the Duffer Brothers, the series creators. Finally, we got a trailer for Avatar, The Way of Water, which is coming to theaters December 16th.
Wouldn't it be great if like the kids were finally like just entering college and the whole season was suddenly just a rom-com of them
crawl.
doing
I was
a pub
kind of
crawl?
thinking the same thing.
Like nothing strange happened, or it's like strange referred to.
It's all happening
strange.
outside, a la like the like Hot Fuzz or something.
Right.
How did you feel about the Avatar: The Way of the Water trailer?
Dunaway, did you see it?
Oh, I did. I watched it. It was a lot of trailer, which is fine because Cameron's going to probably have a really long movie for us. I like what I saw, but I'm a big fan of them, so I don't know. I honestly I just felt like it was just too much of it. I'm like, oh, this is just too much blue. I didn't just wait till the movie gets here.
I need to
It's a
see
lot of
that
blue.
trailer in a theater. Is what I thought.
I
that
think I need
movie
to
is
see it.
made for a theater.
Absolutely.
Bryce,
I didn't watch this trailer.
Just
but you
imagine it in
did.
your head. Just
You-
imagine
you
blue.
Watch the first Avatar movie.
I was going to say, I'm watching it on silent, and I feel like it's going to be a lot of the Blue Cat people again. So
It's
Yeah,
the blue
it
cat
is.
people in
Yeah.
blue water.
Yeah.
It's
It
great.
does.
it's very
and
blue.
I want to be
Looks
very
pretty.
optimistic because they put so much effort into building the biology, the craft of the world building, and all of the lore and so on. But ultimately, the trailer, as it looks on my computer or phone or what have you, just looks as plastic as any other CGI anything that you would imagine.
Take that.
All right, let's get to the dispatches from the front. Anthony heard us talking about the fact that there are no new streaming services launching and thinks maybe they're less lucrative than cable. Wrote Paramount was hit hard in the stock market for its questionable future, which I feel could be said of Peacock and others. Cable topped out at around 100 million households and made fortunes with it. I just don't see how that same amount can do the same in streaming, seeing the problem HBO Max has being near 100 million subscribers. What will it take for these services to find profitability? It's going to have to be answered soon, seeing as cable households are dropping fast. Anthony asks a very honest question, and probably one that a lot of you have. The thing to remember is HBO Max is not cable. HBO Max is a series of channels on cable. So what Warner looks at is not how did cable do? Is HBO Max going to make as much money as Comcast made? It's going to say, how is HBO Max doing related to the revenue we got from HBO, TNT, TBS, etc., from cable companies. And that revenue came from ads, which they're also doing on streaming services, as well as from carriage fees, which they had to negotiate. They don't have to negotiate carriage fees anymore. They just charge you directly. So they're keeping a bigger percentage of that pie already. And they have no limit. They were limited on cable by the amount of households cable was in. Now they can sell to anybody who's got an internet connection anywhere in the country. So they don't have to negotiate for carriage in order to get in front of customers. They're in front of all the customers that are out there. So the real fact of the matter is these companies are already seeing a greater profit per subscriber than they did when they were operating channels on cable.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about the sunk cost of infrastructure anymore. They're able to totally just reap the rewards, take all the cream off the top. Michael from Texas writes in saying that he recently had to re-up for both Disney Plus and for HBO Max, and they both offer discounts, quote, if you subscribe for a year. He felt that D Plus offered him more value per sub than Disney, HBO Max, or whatever it's going to be. So shop with your wallet, monthly or annually, which got me thinking about how close we are to going back to the days of contracts. And all of a sudden now we've had a bit of distance, Tom. You and I have tried to be pioneers about cutting the cable cord. It's now been long enough that I can't remember whether or not you had to pay a penalty to cut off your contract if you signed up for a year or what you lost.
With DirecTV, when I cut my service, I was out of a contract. I didn't have a contract or anything. There was no fee. With cable, though, I think, yeah, sometimes you had 1 or 2 year contracts. And when you canceled, you had to pay the higher rate. So if you canceled early, then you lost your discount. With these services, they're subscriptions, not contracts.
Right.
So I think what they say is like, yeah, you can cancel your service, but you already paid until December. So you'll just keep getting the service until December, and then we'll stop charging you.
Yeah, you're right, because you buy the service for a year at a time to get the lower rate,
and you
on
pay
a per
for
monthly
it then.
basis. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not like the contract where you were paying monthly.
Yeah. Matt wrote in saying that he was utterly delighted by Weird, the Al Yankovic story, mentioned that it's on Hulu or Roku. I suddenly realized everything I've heard about this has been amazing. All of the marketing has been incredible. I've heard nothing bad about this. I suddenly realized, as somebody who likes to use a desktop and only use the monitor in my media room as a monitor, how would I best go about watching this that doesn't involve me picking up my TCL remote and opening up the Roku?
The RokuChannel.roku.com.
The Roku. Okay. Well, that was
I just did a
simpler than I
Google search
expected.
though. You could just search Roku channel on DuckDuckGo or Google or whatever you use, and it popped up right at the top of the search results too.
And is it free with ads, or do you buy?
Yep.
Can I buy it?
Yeah, Google just shows you the
ads.
ads on the search engines. So they're just automatically in the middle of your search results.
No, the Roku channel. I think he meant the Roku channel.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
No,
Because it didn't seem like you needed Google.
No. Oh, yeah.
No, the Roku
This
channel
is the problem with
ads.
me actually asking an earnest question is I'm not prepared
right?
for all of the stabbing that comes with this.
Well, it's a Roku
no, the Roku
original on the Roku channel, but you don't need to get it on the Roku box, but it is the Roku app.
Where do I write a check? How do I give somebody money?
Goes to Jupiter to get stupider.
Okay.
You use your eyes to watch it for free on the web. Dunaway, do you ever watch any of that stuff? Like the Roku channel stuff?
Oh yeah. I like It's according. Some places I trust their ads, some places I don't. Roku Channel does a pretty good job of giving me okay ads and not too annoyingly. So yeah, they're all right.
Did you watch the Weird Al? I haven't watched it.
I have
yet.
not watched
heard
it
it's
yet,
great,
though. Yes, that is on my list. I've heard the same things. Heard a lot of good things about it. I just haven't got around to it yet.
Well, we're glad we got around to having you back on the show. It took too long, so come back soon, please.
I'll do it. Thank you, Tom, Brian, Bryce.
Yeah, that was an awesome shift where you accepted responsibility and then immediately dumped it on Brian.
Brian, if people want to find you without the two of us clowns around, where do they go?
Well, for the time being, twitter.com/the Brian Dunaway, or you can just go to briandunaway.com, and that is BrianDunaway. Only one N and only an I and not a Y.
Excellent, my friend. It was so good to have you back.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We are live on twitch.tv/Night Attack, also carried on diamondclub.tv, Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk to you again next time. Bye.
Hey, Tom Merritt, what's going on?
I'm just hanging out here watching this scroll go by. What are you doing?
Trying to set up a bit where we thank our beautiful, beautiful patrons, all these wonderful
I'm sorry,
names.
I'm too distracted looking at these beautiful, beautiful patron names going by. Look at that one. I mean, if you wanted to be one of these people, patreon.com/cordkillers would be the place to go.
I mean, they're scratching our itch, like, because we're
I think
addicted.
as long as it's consensual, like, fine.
We're addicted to their money.
And love. Might as well face it.
Well, God damn it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.